All right. Um, Welcome to this video. Just a quick note, this is like the third time I do it. I'm not really good at making YouTube videos, so forgive any of my boring editing or whatever. But this is gonna be a video about, if you read the title, 3D procedural dungeon generation. I'm gonna explain first my sources, what inspired me, what did I do, what I'm explaining in this video, of course, and then where I'm going with this. You can kind of wish to say this is like a devlog kindish. Um, I'm really hoping to create something from this, not just the generation of dungeons without any content, right? So we will talk about that at the end of the video. But yeah, anyway, let's start with where do I got inspired from really quickly. The first video I saw on procedural generated 3D dungeons was like a year ago, and I have seen procedural generated games forever, right? Like Enter the Gungeon, Spelunky, whatnot, like even Infinite Runners and stuff like that. And I always got Binding of Isaac, I really love it. So all of these games like always inspired me to like, oh, I love procedural generated stuff. Like you create art because I'm mainly an artist. I've been a developer for like, I'm sorry my introduction, but this is my first video. But I've been a developer for like 10 years already, maybe more. Oh my God. Well, a lot of years. And I always mainly have been like the artist. And since the beginning, I've been like tinkering with code a lot and like actually like program all my controllers and stuff since a long time ago in Unity. And now I'm in Godot, and I really love this engine. I even participated in a game jam by my own. Well, I got a partner there, but like I actually took the initiative on being a game jam, and it's just because I love this engine. So I saw this video again, like called Procedurally Generated 3D Dungeons. I will put on the screen by Vazgriz, and he created this cool system to create like squares in a grid, and then you can replace them, and you create like really great results. I really loved how it turned out for him, and I saw these spaces once the video it's well, he presented the space at the beginning of the video, and you're like, wow, this is really cool. I can imagine all the creatures and the treasure and stuff like inside, and I got really inspired. I was like, okay, I need to learn how to do this. I cannot sit back anymore. And and yeah, I said like, all right, this video seems really complete. Let's try it. The thing is, like at that time, he was doing it on Unity, and I'm really stubborn. And it was even before the Unity fiasco license thing, and I was like, I don't really like Unity anymore. Like I've been working on real Unity and Godot for a while, and I have really always preferred Godot. So I saw this video, I was like, I'm gonna do it in Godot. Like I need to transform all this knowledge into Godot, and I failed miserably. I never accomplished to do that. I started to dip my toes into what it was needed, like the Lonnie triangulations, grids, path findings, and I was like, okay, this seems cool. So that video really like put this splinter in my head, like with my brain, I was like, oh, I need to do this, right? But I never got to do it because it seems really complicated at that time for me. Like I said, I'm not even near the decent programmer, but well, I know I see myself like that. I was try to learn more, right? But it was really complicated, and I was like, okay, I could not do it. I even dig into it all, use 2D grids. Um, I used the grid map that I found out, and I was like, oh wow, this is exactly what I need. I tinker a lot with it. I try to do it from scratch without any grids, just creating spacing, but it never worked out. It was I didn't quite figure out how to do it, but then like 6 months later or a year later, I remember, I stumbled upon this video by Quats. I will put the screenshot again on the video on the here. Uh, it is called Procedural Dungeons in Godot 4. And I was like, oh my God, please tell me the thing I needed was exactly what I needed. It's a killer video. It pushed me in the right direction, clear all my doubts, and it led you with this end result. Let me show you. Let me start like playing a little bit here with my scenes. So here you have all the blocks I'm gonna be using. So if you see the quads video, you will see why you need them. But then you will end up with this little guy here. Let me see if I'm using the correct one. Oh, let me just close out of this. We'll need it for now. Let me just put it in order so I can explain it. Okay, so you end up with this code and this little generator here. So if you click on it, you will set up a border size, the amount of rooms you want, the size of the rooms, right? And yeah, let's just do 35. And it generates some beautiful 2D, well, flat dungeons because they're 3D, right? You can like travel through them. This is your imagination, right? You'll traveling through them. Once you replace all the cubes with assets, right? So it's really good. I loved it. I was like, oh my god, dude, this video is so great. As soon as I saw it, I just like ate it up, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to learn how he does all of this, right? Because this is really way more closer than I have got to the 3D dungeon generation, which is one. And by 3D I mean with several levels, because this is 3D already, and this will give you like the greatest results if you're doing a flat dungeon kind of game. Like, look at this, it already looks fun to travel, right? So this is the code. It's quite a bit of code, and what I did, I was just like, okay, let's just me jump into it, and I just, of course, follow the tutorial, do my notes, change some stuff here and there to understand it clearer. I do my experiments, and then I start to notice, all right, we're using the A star 2D. Cool. Well, this is 2D, not 3D, but he uses that as a position, and he then connects it to the 3D to the 2D grid with this thing, A star grid 2D, which has like the greatest methods for stuff. You can have like something really important that makes it look pretty is diagonal mode. It eliminates the diagonal searching path, which is really awful. So I will show you how it looks like. You can also see the video. It shows them there too, and you also have like get path on grid and stuff. So it uses the if I'm not mistaken, you have like heuristic Manhattan distances. What does that all mean? It means like it always gonna search like straight. It's never gonna do like jumping diagonally between blocks, right? Like this. Hopefully you can see my mouse. So you always have like this straight grid, which is great for hallways, right, and stuff like that. But the thing is, like, as soon as I start stepping into 3D, I realize Godot doesn't have an A star grid 3D, only the 2D, and like, well, I'm gonna do like several levels and stuff. So what I did is like, I went to the code again, and I like, all right, let me do something. I want to try and do the level thing, right? So I'm gonna do really quickly here. I'm gonna add another script to my dungeon generation. You have to restart this stage because it's a tool. So what I did is I'm using this one now. So I put some cute little titles and some debug that I'm going to show you in a second. So once I click on it, you will see the difference. So, well, we have the same things. You can have the border size, so let's do 30. You can have this room amount. This is the number of tries you're going to do. You're going to try to fit all the rooms before giving up. And yeah, let's see, this is the margin, the room size. So you generate, and what I did is like, this is really silly thing. So I changed the room generation code so you don't have ever like rooms on top of each other. So I create like these rooms, and then I create like a column of, let me show you here. Here's the change one. So this is the default one. See, so all the variables are here, no titles or anything. You can see here I have titles stuff, and you can go down, and I have the make room algorithm thing, well, the code. And I'm not gonna go deep into the code. If you want me to do code tutorials on this, please let me know. I'm not a YouTuber, like I said, but if enough people ask for it, I will take the time and do it like step by step. In the meantime, you can like eyeball it. Maybe it will work for you. But I created this, and then I create like a safe up and down area of no creating rooms in top of each other, right? And the way I did the stairs, you can see I have orange blocks now. These orange blocks are telling me where the level changes, right? And then I'm creating them on the diagonal direction that it's going. So it's going down, it's going up, right? And This comes a little bit from the original Vazgriz procedural generated 3D dungeon. He used like a 2x2 block to create these really nice stairs, and I want to try to do that too. So the way I do that is I I search for the path in 2D, which is the original Vazgriz game algorithm. So you search the path like in 2D, but then I count like half the size of the whole distance. Here it is. And then I change the level in which you are creating the rooms. And that changes, then I move all the blocks like kind of manually, right? It's by code, but I go like, all right, let's move this room up. And since this room is going to another room, just create a path like down here, but detect the one that is coming is another level. So move from half of the path distance, start creating the blocks up, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm calculating half of the distance of the path, and I'm splitting it and moving up. So it works great. If you ask me for a two level dungeon, it's working flawlessly, right? Kinda. So I really liked it. Let's put some more rooms in here. So it creates some complicated and cool stuff sometimes. Sometimes it just messed up. So I need to polish a lot. Like this isn't by no means the end result. Um, so you need to polish a lot, but it's working pretty decently. I was really happy with this. I like, oh my God, I'm doing two level dungeon generation. All right, so I was really happy, but it wasn't enough, right? Because what if I want to do 3 levels, or what if I don't know, right? Like I just wanted to do like actual 3D pathfinding, not like this hacky split the whole in half. And if I wanted to do another level, I would have to like divide it by 3 and then find like halfway there, start like climbing up, and it will be messy. It will be messy. I didn't like it. It will be harder to find like colliding with other rooms and stuff. So I was like, all right, let's try to do it even more 3D, right? So first of all, I was like, where do I start? So I found like Godot has these A-star 3D findings. So I'm gonna do really quickly clarify what is each. So this is the grid map where you place blocks, but information from where you get what blocks to put in here, it is on the A-star algorithm. So in this algorithms, you can put like points on an array, right? You put all the points. You can put, for example, the Godot method transforms this one transforms the path you're finding into a 2D grid, right? So you create like a X by Y. Let me click on here so you can see. You can create an X by Y grid and puts a point like a actual vector there at the distance you say, and it starts finding paths in this kind of like virtual grid, right? Then you can just get all the positions of those and apply it to the grid map. So the 3D A-star 3D does the same, but let me show you how it looks like on this pure. That's what I call it, like A-star 3D pure, because I wanted to see how it looks like just finding. Is this one? Let me see. Yeah, it is this one. So you will see how awful this is. All right, so what I'm doing is just like I'm creating rooms and using them as obstacles. Let me see if I can get one. All right, this one overrided the ending point, so that's what it worked like that. Let me find. All right, there you go. So see what I'm looking at is like, all right, this path is like finding. It can detect obstacles and go around, right? But let me just change here. I'm inputting the ending point manually, so it is here around somewhere. Let me show you. There you go. All right, 5 seconds later, I found it. So this is the path I'm finding. So it's from 0 to 31. Let's just crank it up a little bit to 645. Let's say to block 645, right? So once you click on that, wait, something is not right. Let me just reopen this. All right, something happened here. Oh, there is no block. Let's just go a little bit lower, maybe. There you go. So now I'm looking like from 0 to 300 something, right? It's a random number. I wish I could have like one on the level up. All right, by the magic of editing, this took me like 2 seconds, but it took me like 5 minutes. But I finally figured out I wasn't like putting levels on this. But now you can see like the pathfinding 3D is finding stuff like up and down. So this is how it works by default. This is a pure state, which I really didn't like, of course, right? But let me just try and get a room. There you go. Now we got it in a little small scale. So this is how it works in the pure state. Let me just, there you go. We have a room that is in the way. So as you can see, the 3D path finding, it is finding its way to the last cube it needs, but it's doing like awfully. Like it's doing like this diagonal, right? So it's just like skipping blocks, and this does not work for a path, right? Like if you wanted to do a hallway from this, it will not work. So I first figured out like Godot has this awesome A star 3D, but it's not the A star grid 3D, it's the A star 3D. So it does this, and I'm like, okay, this is not gonna work. And by this point, what I'm doing is, let me show you, because at this point it was quite a bit of a journey already. So the A-Star 3D doesn't have like a grid system. So the first thing you have to do is connect all the points manually, right? So there's a great video that I will find later and try to put on the screen about how to do this. And basically what it does is just like takes any point on the grid. Let's just imagine this green block, and it connects it with its neighbors, right? So left, right, back, front, up, down, and all diagonals coming from those combinations. So it connects like this, right? It can go from this one to this one, because this block is definitely connected to this one. So oh, this is a shortened path. So I'm gonna go through here, but it looks awful, right? So the first thing you do to make it even work is connect all the things. And I'm like, all right, I like it. It's working. It's finding its way. This is like a grid light, and normally it wouldn't work like that. It will work like you put some obstacles, and you say like, oh, this point here. Let's say I want to connect the start with this point in here in this room. So you put like, you have like several waypoints, so you can go through here, to here, to here, to here, and it's gonna search which ones are the ones that made the closest path, right? So you have like just this kitchen fly game, right? And you want your fly to avoid all the obstacles. So you maybe raycast some points where your fly can go, and it's not gonna overlap or anything. Your fly is gonna find your closest path to the fruit, right? So oh, it's gonna go through here. So this worked great in that case, right? Just gonna do some interpolation and move it there. In this case, you saw Quad's tutorial, you will see that we're using it quite different. We're just like, we want the location of this path that is in a grid-like manner, right? So what you have to do is just like create, I am the one, yeah. You need to create like this set of points that are always spaced by one on each place, right? So you create like this virtual grid, which will, then you will extract all the positions from it and put them on the grid map, which is different, right? It's just like a cell information of what is there, what is not. So this is the first thing that I did, and I was like, oh wow, this is really similar to the A-Star Grid 2D, right? It's just like I'm connecting neighbors, it's finding paths, it's giving me all the blocks in this path so I can apply them to the grid map, and I'm like, oh, I'm really happy with this. So at this point I was like, oh my god, I'm actually breaking through the obstacles that I had before. So once I got there, I really got motivated. And let me just show you what I end up with. So this is the final one. It's quite a bit more hefty, and I'm not the best coder, so maybe this could be shorter, I know. But this one combines the techniques that I have shown you, the Watts video and the manual grid connection. I'm sorry I'm not mentioning you on audio, but I will definitely put a image of your video there and a link in the description. And it combines all of that and creates this awesome generator. So let me show it to you. So we're gonna get our last script. I'm gonna save here. I'm gonna reopen. You have to do that. And once I generate, well, you will see I have 0 levels, diagonal off. So you will see this. Let me show you. So it is similar to what we have before, right? But it's doing this weird, awful pattern, right? So let me just make it a little bit bigger so you can see it better. So again, there you go. So this is the 8-star 3D pathfinding thing without any restrictions. It can even do it in several levels. So let me show you like this. So what I'm doing here is pretty much like creating rooms and giving it waypoints to find. And everything is connected to everything. So all the grid is finding is like the shortest actual path. So this way will be your fly going through it to a grid, right? But this one looks like, I'm not gonna say it, but it looks awful, and it doesn't work for hallways. And you will be like, oh, but this one works. Well, at a certain point, right? So you need to control this more. So what I went ahead and did is like, I started to restrict how I connected it. So let me show you really quickly. I'm sorry, the code is quite long. There you go. So here you have how I connected them, but instead of connecting all my neighbors, right, like connecting this guy to do all of this, I'm just connecting them orthogonally. So I created a set of offsets that are not connectable. So this diagonal and steps I meant for the like in the same level, and this one's on different levels. On this one corners, I'm sorry, this one is different levels. Anyway, what I did is I checked for all diagonals, and I'm like, if there are a diagonal there, don't connect the A-star path. So our path cannot connect this and say, oh, this is the shortest path, because they will not exist. And the way it works, like, you haven't quite graphed it yet, is like, it's gonna find the next possible path to travel. So you have neighbors that are allowed. So you cannot like be like, the path could be like, oh, this one. If you go like from this one instantly to this one, is the shortest path. It's just one block away, because you're saying like, no, just use the neighbors to get there. So what I did is like, I restrict all the diagonals. I of course put a boolean here to activate that. And once you turn that on, you can click on it and you will see the difference, right? And this is not actually the real result you will get right away, because this is Manhattan distance. And that brings me to the other thing that I did is thankfully the 3D A-star algorithm has this override compute cost and estimate cost. And by default is heuristic Euclidean distance. You can find those words, Euclidean distance. And that one is like finding like the shortest path, like almost like directly, right? Manhattan distance is a little bit different. All right, so please don't look at my code much, but this is what I did. I use A-star 3D Manhattan class name. The extent A-star 3D is not much, but this one in theory works as the Manhattan distance. So that's why it's calculating it like in straight lines. Once you activated that, that diagonal restriction that I made in here, once you activated this, it was doing it all right. It was not doing like the crazy diagonal thing you saw, but it was zigzagging too much, because it was getting the neighbors closer to there. Now that I use this Manhattan distance, it tries to go straight as much as possible, right? And it works great. You can see I have several levels here, several rooms. Let me just up a little bit the size and more room, maybe the margin too. Let's do this in 40. And yeah, 5 rooms. Okay, we'll give it a second. All right, sorry there, I have to stop a little second. My computer wasn't cooperating. But anyway, you can see like the Manhattan distance is working really great. I'm trying to get this as straight as possible to the points we're going. And we can add as much levels as we want. Let me just generate another one. So here we have, okay, this is not the best example. Maybe I should close this and open it again. Okay, let's do 3 levels. All right, there you go. So you have like level 1, level 2, and level 3, right? The only thing that is left to do for me, like I said, it is not perfect, but it's a great result, is like avoiding like going up 2 times to the 3rd level. So always trying to go 1 step at a time and create this stair-like feature, right? So But this was great. So at this point, I was using like my custom class. I was avoiding the diagonals, and I was like, oh wow, this is really really good. So I thought, well, let's do this video, right? And the last thing, oh well, I have to mention this method of creating a dictionary with all the position of the cells, and it is a great method for transferring your A star positions to the grid map. I will put an image up there too, um, along with a link on the description. Great video, by the way. It was about pathfinding in 3D before the nav mesh we got in Godot 4. I don't know if it wasn't Godot 3 too, but I think it wasn't that great at that time. Or maybe this was more appropriate for like XCOM style games, right? Turn-based, great strategy games. But yeah, great video. I took that and I made a Frankenstein of a thing, and this is pretty much working already like the A star 3D grid method, which we don't have, right? We only have the 2D. So pretty much to summarize really quickly, I do what you do in the quals video with the 2D finding, but I made my own grid with restrictions on diagonals. I create my rooms in different levels. Then I get my paths. I override the A star function to use heuristics, Manhattan heuristics instead of Euclidean. And also I'm detecting when I'm going up or down on levels with an orange block, right? Like I did in the other one. And yeah, one of the things that I also encountered was like I'm using the room set obstacles. So I was removing actually from the connections the door tiles. So I was getting a lot of issues with that. But finally figured out like, oh, I'm dumb. I'm removing the doors too. So all the paths were ending like next to the doors, but not like actually trying to find the doors. So I was like getting all like paths ending in here or on top of the rooms all the time. Like still happens, but it's not that often now. So like I said, it needs a little bit more polish. But look at this. This is like a really really fun kind of like, oh, I want to explore this level already, right? So yeah, let me go 3 levels. You can go as high as you want, maybe more rooms, because now with that many levels you will need more rooms to fill it up. So look, it goes really complicated. I know you noticed, but at some point it doesn't create a room on the first floor, so you need to create like probably restricted a little bit more, so it always goes to the first floor first. And no, that sounds redundant, but yeah, you always create the first floor room, and then go from there, right? And you can even go like, oh, make this room always my main room where I start, and this one is the boss room or whatever, right? But here you go. This is what I got. I'm really happy with the results. I want to fix stuff like this, for example, getting to the path from the bottom. No, I was going to go from the sides, right? Like this one right here is what I want all the time. And even if this is the most efficient one, this is not what I want. So I still have a lot of work to do ahead of me. And what I'm trying to accomplish with this is, of course, creating some sort of like roguelike game. Like I've been really inspired, like I said, for procedurals, Binding of Isaac, Spelunky, Enter Gungeon, pretty much 2D games, right? But I saw this video of a 3D dungeon. I was like, oh, I want to do this, and well, I think it really fits really well with the rogue genre, right? So it helped me as an artist to create like having more fun creating like assets and enemies and more art, and focusing less on maybe like level design and more on like making it fun anywhere you go, like any room, and not like that manual of a work. And it expands a lot the durability of a game. So I really like Source of the Stars. The Pit is a really niche game, but it's really hardcore roguelike. And I also love Shattered Pixel Dungeon. I play that one a lot, and I always fascinated by how roguelikes work on procedural generated levels. So I really love that combo, and I really wanted to try it out myself in 3D. And yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going. So that's what I said is it could be like kind of like a dev blog ish. kind of thing. Hopefully I will work more on this, and that's it. So I know I went through all this stuff like really over, like not deep on the code or anything. If you like this video and you took the time to like watch it all, well, congrats and thank you. And if you any of you want to like see a tutorial on this, leave me a comment, leave me a like. Like I said, I'm not a YouTuber, but I may become one if enough people get interested in my journey. I thought I had to share this one because I got a lot of help from everyone, and I need to share, and at least like it is possible. If you want a tutorial like video, let me know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you around hopefully.